Match Group, home of Tinder and other dating apps, is being sued for creating addictive products. The lawsuit claims the business model is predatory and rewards compulsive use, accusing the company of negligence in violation of consumer protection laws. The accusation of similarities to litigation other social platforms have faced about knowingly designing addictive features. In a statement, Match called lawsuit ridiculous and said it had zero merit. The suit also seeks damages for people who paid to use the apps and new warnings about risks of addiction. I don't know what to say. I feel like that I'm kind of on Match's side. It's ridiculous. You're kidding. Dating apps are addictive?
Yeah. Tell us something we don't know. It feels like it'd be not just cocaine, but crack cocaine. Not only do they implement the same sort of, gamification and visual stimulation and random rewards that Tristan Harris talked about that create that slot machine effect, where you constant dope by just pulling the arm again. But when you're thinking about the opportunity for a romantic relationship, and you get evaluation or you get feedback, some positive but mostly negative, especially if you're a man on these apps, I can't imagine these apps wouldn't be addictive. How could they not be addictive?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is there a lawsuit here, though?
Yeah, tell us something we don't know. Alcohol's addictive. Okay, what do we do about it?
So this is the only reason I'm asking, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, is we think social media platforms should be held accountable for what it does to teen girls or addiction and stuff like that, and we think that's okay. Is this any different or not?
Well, the only thing these things get pretty mendacious pretty fast. Fake profiles. Yeah. Where they give people the sense that there's more opportunity and build their hopes when there isn't. That's just immoral. That's just not, but they're not doing anything that any other app that's selling sneakers or washing machines is doing, trying to create you to just stick on the app. Yeah,
but how's it different than social media? Because I know you and I are, it isn't. So but we think social media should be subject to lawsuits around addiction? Or not? Because it definitely has self-esteem issues, which is linked to addiction of using them, right? So
Well, it's not, okay. To try and, addiction itself, I think, is so complicated to prove in a court. I think what we've advocated for is that around health, as it relates to kids, maybe even elections, that's similar to the rest of media, they should not have Section 230 protections such that if they find that, in fact, Facebook is sending out emails to girls, teen girls, with images helping them kill themselves, that they have some liability for that. We're not going to even go to trying to prove what is addictive or what isn't addictive, because ice cream is addictive.
Right.
We're going to go to liability. Now, if kids they are lying to people and saying, okay, there's a ton of really hot, interesting people here who are really interested in you, and they're fake profiles and they're not, such that you spend more money, that's fraud, right? But we have big laws around addiction. We tried to outlaw alcohol. It didn't work. I think that's tough to figure out.
I suppose, like on cigarettes, there's warnings, right? Maybe they could have warnings on them in this regard.
Warning, pursuing love is addictive or bad for your health.
Addicted to love. Play that song.
Apps. I've never been on a dating app, although my nickname at the office was Swipe Left. I love that.
Was it? What?
All the kids used to call me Swipe Left.
Oh, that's funny. that means you don't. I've never been on a dating app. Does that mean you don't like them?
No. Would I advise people? Which
is Swipe Left? Tell me. I don't know.
Swipe Left is I'm not interested.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. I like that. I'm going to call you that, Swipe Left.
Thanks for that. No problem. I personally, would I advise single people? I think it's easy to be a purist when you're in a relationship. If I were single, I would be accepting every invitation to a dinner party. I'd be letting my friends know that I was single. I'd be politely and in a dignified way when I met people professionally, following up and seeing if they might be interested in coffee and trying to sense if they were in fact interested in me in more than a professional relationship, which I think is okay. 1 in 3 relationships begin at work. And I'd be on the apps, because the most rewarding thing in your life is going to be finding a romantic and sexual partnership where maybe someday you decide to partner together economically and have children. And you know what? It's really fucking hard, and it requires effort and rejection. And I say do it all.
I see all the negatives out there. There's a great story, and I forget who wrote it. I think it was Gail. Oh, she's a Vanity Fair reporter. Wrote a great story about sort of the way men treat women on these apps, and I didn't like it. It was really kind of repulsive. And when I actually
I think it's the opposite, Kara.
I know. And let me just finish. So there's lots of issues with these apps, including fraud, bad profiles, et cetera, and sort of the way people treat each other is kind of interchangeable and fungible. Which I don't like, but that happens in life at bars too. So it's not like a new, fresh thing. On the whole, I've heard as many as horror stories are. I think there's been a lot of really wonderful stories of people meeting on these things. Many of my friends met on apps, and are married.
It's been great for the gay community.
Many. Yeah, absolutely. And not always. It sometimes can be very lonesome. I talked to a lot of gay men about it. It's more transactional. It is what it is in that regard. But I think they makes them. A friend of mine keeps taking it off his app because it makes him feel bad. Louis had a dating app. He took it off, made him feel bad. I've never used them, so I can't speak from experience. But I do think, on the whole, they're kind of okay. Just like I think they're better than bars in some cases. Bars can be really depressing. I think.
What dating apps do is they speedball a market, and that is because everybody thinks they have access technically to everybody, they, in some instances, women increase their standards. And you can't tell a woman to not increase her standards, right? The problem is that the top 10% of men get 80+% of the interest, letting them engage in what I'll call Portia polygamy, which doesn't incentivize them to establish long-term relationships, and quite frankly, lets them get away with probably what is not great behavior. At the same time, if you want, as a man if you're 5'8" and you're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and maybe you're not great looking, and maybe you didn't graduate from MIT, you don't have a chance to be funny. You don't have a chance to demonstrate you're kind. You don't have a chance to demonstrate that you have wonderful body language or are confident. It's all about online. Essentially, with women, it's their aesthetics, and with guys, it's their ability to signal resources. But the difference is men have lower standards and will swipe right a lot more. A lot of people end up lonely. And if you want to talk to validation, the men in what I'll call the lower half of attractiveness on basic economic viability, you want to find a means of validating they have no worth to the opposite sex, they should just go on dating apps. It's really brutal for what I'll call an average man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, 100%. Again, I've never been on them. I don't know why. I just don't know. I'm too famous.